This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. Okay, before we go into our first story, I just want to say stick around today. We've got some fun towards the end. We've got another corrections segment, and we've got some great footage for the Yotspot. Anyway, we'll go into our first story. It is now the 1-year anniversary of the RV Petrel incident. The research vessel, once owned by Paul Allen, toppled over in a dry dock in Scotland. On the 22nd of March 2023, so a year ago today, the ship was in a dry dock facility in Leith in Scotland when the ship toppled over onto her side in a freak accident. Now, if you've been watching the channel for a long time, you'll know that we covered the story in depth, actually going to the dry dock facility on multiple occasions and filming a number of videos. Anybody who's been following the channel will know exactly where I am. You can see over my shoulder here, the RV Petrel. Now, there were many people on board the ship at the time, even though it was out of the water, mostly contractors working on the refit, but there were also a number of crew. Now, of these contractors and crew on board, 35 people were injured, some of them sustaining what they call life-changing injuries. A major incident was declared when the vessel, which is now owned by the US Navy, tipped over and ended up in a 45-degree angle in the Imperial Dock in Scotland last year. Like I said, 12 months on from the incident, those people are still waiting for a report about the incident from the investigation, and the lawyers representing the people say that the clients are being caused unrest and concern. That's according to reporting by the BBC. Now, a person for Digby Brown, which is a law firm in the UK representing some of the injured, said, "It's now been 1 year since the incident occurred, but the authorities have not yet confirmed what failing led to the collapse of the RV Petrel." They went on to say, "We currently support 13 people from 4 different nations, and while I cannot divulge details, they have suffered truly catastrophic life-changing injuries." Now, the RV Petrel research vessel under Paul Allen's ownership, which was before the US Navy purchased it, was used on many shipwreck discovery missions and helped find, amongst others, the wreck of the World War II warship HMS Hood. Now, the RV Petrel was eventually righted about 2 months later and then towed to the US for repairs. Now, this involved being towed across the Atlantic by a deep-sea tug, and she arrived in Tampa Bay in June 2023. Now, there is a lawsuit also going on in the US. They're suing the US government, who owns the vessel, for negligence. The suit was filed by a crew member injured during the incident. The crew member's name is Magin Luis Caballero, and he says the defendant, the US government, failed to give a safe working environment. He's suing the US government for $10 million due to his life-changing injuries. We'll probably come back to that in a future episode. Anyway, we'll move on to our next story. Now, in the previous episode of Super Yacht News, we talked about Jeff Bezos' super sailing yacht, Koru. We said that the vessel was headed to a shipyard in France, namely La Ciotat, and we pondered why the vessel might be headed there. You know, it's a brand new vessel. So we gave 2 reasons for this, and we said that it was possible that there was warranty work, and there was other possibility was that there was an issue with the vessel, you know, like they hit something whilst at sea or something like that, that needed to be fixed, which would not be covered under warranty, right? But there was, of course, a third reason. We mentioned this in the previous video, talking about Mark Zuckerberg's new yacht. I'll put a link to that up here. Now, the third reason is that the owner just wants something changed, you know. It's a brand new yacht. So he might say, I want something added or something removed. Maybe he wants a new, you know, pizza oven, or maybe he wants the decks changed, re-sanding. Maybe he wants the color changing, you know. There could be numerous things, and this is very common on a new vessel when it's just been delivered to the owner. So anyway, we've had an update from people who have knowledge of the vessel's movements, and they tell us that the yacht is in La Ciotat for a refit period of about 10 weeks. Now, we don't know if the vessel is coming out of the water. It certainly seems like it based on the berth in the shipyard, but whilst in the refit period, you know, you could use that time to do other jobs that might be on the list of jobs to do. And a vessel of this size always needs something doing. I mean, they'd have to book the dry dock in advance, so it probably is, if it's in that berth, it's probably coming out of the water for a specific reason. So that's the update on sailing yacht Koru. she'll be in for the next 10 weeks or so. So why is Jeff Bezos' sailing yacht in France and the support vessel is still in Florida? Well, because the yacht is in a refit period, there's no reason for the support vessel to be there, so they might as well stay in Florida and they can meet up later on once Koru is out of refit. Maybe that's just guesswork, of course. Now we have a new correction segment coming up, like I said, but first we're going to do a quick yacht spot. Okay, so this is Motor Yacht Infinity. It was sent in by Sheila Tichy, spotted in the Exumas. It's a 117 meter or 383 feet yacht delivered in 2022, just under 5,000 gross tons, so she's a big yacht. The yacht is owned by Eric Schmidt and valued around $300 million. So thanks very much for sending that footage in. Next, we've got Motor Yacht Come Together by Bryson Miller. This is a time lapse of the yacht docking in West Palm Beach at night. Great footage. It's a 60 meter yacht, 196 feet, and is owned by Mark Pincus, according to SuperYacht Fan. And we're going to play out with some amazing footage of Motor Yacht Horizons 3 sent in to us by Island Flyer at the end of the video. But first, corrections. So in the last episode of Super Yacht News, episode 309, we talked about the Titanic, and some people were a bit triggered by a comment I made saying that the fourth funnel on the Titanic was a dummy funnel, not used for its intended purpose. Now, if you didn't see that video, then it's accurate that only the first 3 funnels on Titanic handled smoke coming from the boilers, right? Doing what a funnel does. The fourth was there really as a sign of grandeur. Most of the Cunard ships at the time had 4 funnels, so Titanic was built with 4, even though she only required 3. Now, cue the comments. The fourth funnel did have a function, it vented air. The fourth funnel was not cosmetic, it had significant uses for ventilation from the engine room, kitchen exhaust piping, etc. There were stairs to the top for the engine room personnel. To be fair, the fourth funnel was functional, just not for the steam engines. The fourth stack supplied combustion air to the boilers, not a decoration. The fourth stack was not merely visual, it had several purposes that it served. The ship would not function without it. Get your facts right, please. That's from Mr. Angry. He posted some other comments, which I'm not going to go into. Even the photos at the time showed the funnel not in use. So even the White Star Line's own adverts showed no smoke coming from them. So not in use. It's a funnel. It's meant to get rid of smoke from the engines, right? So it wasn't used as a funnel. Therefore, it was a dummy funnel. Anyway, let's go to the source. So after the sinking of the Titanic, a British inquiry heard from a crew member, Thomas Ranger, who worked as a greaser on board. Now, during his testimony, he said, "I went up the dummy funnel. There are 4 fans situated up the dummy funnel." And the commissioner, who was listening, interrupted. He said, "The aft funnel is a dummy funnel?" The Attorney General says, "Yes, it does not serve fire at all." The commissioner said, Is it that funnel, the dummy?" And he pointed at a plan. The Attorney General says, "Yes, it is plain if you look at that." The commissioner, "It's used for ventilation?" The Attorney General, "Yes." So even the crew referred to the fourth funnel as a dummy funnel. Now, Harland de Wolff, who built the Titanic, he said the shaft from the turbine room is surmounted by the fourth funnel, which is a most valuable adjunct for ventilating purposes. So yes, it had a purpose in that it vented air. However, they were able to do this because the funnel was not in use for the boilers, hence it being a dummy funnel. The funnel is designed to get rid of smoke from the engines, and it wasn't doing that. Therefore, it was dummy. Now, they could have used traditional venting to vent the areas, but they put it in the funnel because it wasn't being used as a funnel, right? This is Motor Yacht Shimara. She was built in 1938 and used as a yacht by very rich family at the time. In 2014, Shimara was almost completely rebuilt by her modern day owner. The brief was to keep the yacht looking exactly like she did in the original build, but to modernize with all the modern day technology and equipment a modern super yacht would have. Now, because the yacht was fitted with modern engines, the funnel was no longer required. Vessel most likely has underwater exhaust now. However, because the owner wanted to keep the yacht looking original, they made a dummy funnel and placed the satellite equipment, VSATs, TVROs, etc. inside the dummy funnel. So yes, it has a purpose. It wasn't used as a funnel, so it's a dummy funnel for aesthetic purposes. It was there to look the part, but it had another function, but it wasn't used as a funnel, therefore it's a dummy funnel. There were other ways to ventilate engine rooms back then, and the construction of a fourth funnel was not one of them. It was used that way because it served no other purpose. What I'm going to be doing in this series of vlogs is recording the journey across the Atlantic. Anyway, remember to check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/eSysman. You'll find many videos not featured on YouTube, including our Atlantic vlog series and the Patreon chat series. And a number of new Patreon chat videos have recently been uploaded, and you'll get behind the scenes footage from our trips to super yacht marinas all over the world. If you've got any information for us about any of these stories or any other stories, please be sure to get in touch. You can get us at the address in the ticket. You can get us on the About page of the YouTube channel. You can get us on Instagram, on Facebook Messenger, on Twitter, and on Threema. Be sure to like this video, very important for the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for future notifications. All right, guys, I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.